What is going on, guys? It's Dan here from the Sanctum Squad. So Tom and Jake have been really enjoying playing the Omni Hero version of this deck, and I enjoy that a little bit as well. But one thing I really like about my decks is the ability to not draw 3 melee. So I thought that I'd give the Neos version a build. I've seen quite a lot of profiles on for this deck, but a lot of them all seem to be going down the same route. And I think with this version I've got is a little bit different. So yeah, here's the profile. So first of all, we've just got the 1 elemental hero Neos. A lot of versions play more than one of this, but to be honest, this card is so accessible through like the search cards and in-engine with like the Infernal Devicer that I don't think you need to mitigate playing more than one of this. And then for the other high-level monsters, we've got 2 Spirit Neos. So if you've played against Ubel, they've got a card that's quite similar to this one. So what this card does is when your opponent declares an attack, you can, this all resolves in hand by the way, so it plays under skill drain. You can special summon it and it can't be destroyed by battle. So even if they've got the skill drain down, it still can't be destroyed. And then on summon, it searches a spell or trap that mentions an elemental hero by name. So just things like your Neos Fusion, your Ian Shuffle, things like that. And then you can shuffle it back into the deck to summon this guy. So that's just another way to get into the Neos. And then for like some of the heroes that you'll be more familiar with, we play 2 Stratos. We don't play 3 because this deck doesn't play Faris or anything like that. So like normal summoning this, like on its own, doesn't really accomplish too much. We're playing 2 Blazeman. This card is sort of like a Vion, but you can search it off equals, which is better in this deck. And it's an elemental hero, obviously, Flame Wingman. So it just searches Polymerization on summon. And the second effect comes up like sometimes where you dump a elemental hero from deck to grave and it copies the stats. But that's just only if you're in like a really bad situation, to be honest. Then we're playing the 1 Liquid Soldier and the 1 Shadow Mist. That's pretty standard, I think. You can also play Wing Creeper level 6 in this deck, because that is like another really good card that heroes have received. I think in this deck though, because this deck draws so much, I think Liquid Soldier's probably better. But Wing Creeper level 6 is definitely something that you can consider as well. And now for like the Garnet monster, because Neos kind of does have to play a Garnet monster because of the powerful Neos fusions. I've decided to play Rainbow Dragon to go into Rainbow Neos. I was playing this deck with Arm Neos for the longest time, but I feel like that card kind of conflicts with itself because it destroys monsters on summon, but then it has to destroy a monster by battle to flow it into the Cosmo Neos, which seems really weird. Also giving your opponent that extra turn as well, where they can just kind of like set stuff, and like while Cosmo does kind of blow it up, it does just feel a little bit not, I suppose like subpar is the right word. Whereas this just going into Rainbow Neos to just shuffle everything back. Like non-targeting shuffling is the most powerful form of removal in the game. So yep. And then just for the last monster in the deck, we have 3 Crosskeeper. This card's super good in this variant of the deck. So some Omni Hero builds do play it as well. So what this card does is you can discard it from the hand to grave to special summon an elemental hero monster from your hand or grave. If it summons from grave, the effects are negated. This is one of the best ways to mitigate getting your Spirit of Neos on the field. And what it does as well, if a fusion summon is conducted while it's in the grave, so not even if it has used as the material, you can banish it, draw 2 cards and put back 1. So it's kind of like a Liquid Soldier, but like a little bit better, because like if you draw into like a Garnet or something, you can just put it back. So yeah, I think this card's really strong. And then into the spells, play 3 Hero Lives. This is just like standard, unfortunately. 3 equal, yeah, every monster in your deck apart from Crosskeeper is an elemental hero, so it makes sense. 3 Ian Shuffle. This card is super good. It's kind of like a Cashdera Theosis for heroes. So what this does is it shuffles an elemental hero into your deck and then you summon one of a different name. So one thing that you can do if you open with a Hero Lives, for example, you can Hero Lives out the Stratos, Stratos search the Blazeman, Blazeman get the Poly, and then you can Ian Shuffle the Blazeman back for a Stratos and get another search, which is cool. And what it does as well, you can banish it from grave to put a Neos back in grave, from grave into deck and draw a card. And while that might seem like it's a little bit self-conflicting with the favourite contact, because this deck plays Neos Fusion, what you can do is you can shuffle it back and then you can just use the Neos Fusion to dump it again, which is just really good, I think. And then for your fusion spells, we've got 3 Neos Fusion. This card's like super cool. What it does is, if you don't know, it just summons a monster that mentions elemental hero Neos' fusion material, ignoring the summoning conditions, but you can't obviously summon for the rest of the turn. And it has a protection effect in grave, so it can banish it when your Neos Fusion monster will be destroyed by battle or card effect. This card is weird because on paper it reads really broken, but there's only a few good targets right now. You things like Rainbow Neos, like you got Arm Neos and there's like one monster that you can go into that's like really bad, but it's the only thing you can do going first. But in Supreme Darkness, we get the Evil Hero Neos Lord, which is cool because this card does ignore summoning conditions, which means that you can summon the Evil Hero Neos Lord off that. And then for your fusion spells, playing 2 Poly and the Miracle. We're playing 2 Poly because like we're not playing like the Pharos engine, and you want to be seeing this card. And while you can search it off Spirit of Neos, like in a pinch, you want to be searching things that are harder to get into, like your Re-Ent Shuffle, your Neos Fusion, even like your Favorite Contact. Speaking of, we'll go for the Rotor and the Favorite Contact. Yeah, this is all pretty standard. So going for the non-engine of this deck. So we've got 3 Perulia. There is 3 Furos as well. We just had to lend one of those out for one of our friends going to an event. So there's 3 Furos. Well, here's 2 of them. Yeah, so just imagine there's a 3rd Furos there. So yeah, you're blind in second in this deck. And these are the best blind in second cards, I think, that have potentially ever been created, because they just force your opponents into such weird states. Like they either like go all in and you can draw enough to just kill them, or they just pass and they end on like a really stunted board. And the good thing about this deck is that because you don't play like Increase or Mali or things like that, there's not really cards that you can like, you don't want to draw into. Obviously, like if you draw your Rainbow Dragon, it's a bit naff, but you can always just like poly that if you really want to, and Neos Fusion like searches from hand anyway, so it's minor. And then for the other non-engine, we've just got 3 Dark Ruler and a Call by the Grave. I think Dark Ruler is just one of the best board breakers right now, just because like your opponent can't respond, like it just turns off everything. This bit of the deck is entirely up to personal preference, by the way. I understand that like these cards are quite expensive. You can also just go all in on board breakers and play things like Raigeki, Dark Hole, Thrust, Forbidden Droplets. Yeah, Forbidden Droplets is also a great one. You could even like main evenly if you wanted to. I wouldn't really recommend it because like Rainbow News kind of does that for you, but it is something to consider. Or you could just play 9 hand traps. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. We'll go off into the extra deck now. So yeah, for the Neos Fusion target, we've got the 1 Rainbow Neos. I don't know if it's just me being biased towards Crystal Beast as a deck as a whole, or just me not liking Arm Neos, but I think this card's super good. It's 4,500, which is relevant because you can get over like big Desirees and things like that. And the shuffling effect is so good because it does cleanly move things off the board that have like those awkward graveyard effects. But again, the Neos Fusion target is up to personal preference. There are reasons for playing the Armed Dragon, so you can if you wanted to. And then for your more like standard like E-Hero stuff, we've got the Wake Up, the Ab-Zero. We're playing 2 Flame Wingman in this just because like Kashtira Unicorn is in the meta, and this is like one of the more effective cards to move. But also like sometimes there are lines where you do make this with things like a Miracle Fusion or like the 2nd Poly, for example, to recycle the Favorite Contact. And then for the other Wingman, we've got 2 Shining Neos Wingman. This is kind of like just your boss monster, so yeah, just the destruction, it gets massive, can't be destroyed by card effects. Yeah, it's just a really good boy. And then this is the E-Hero Fusion I was talking about. This card is like weird because it's bad, but its materials make it good. So it requires Neos and a level 4 or lower monster that's generic. So if you're going first, you'd use it to send things like your Shadow Mist, your Liquid Soldier, your Crosskeeper, just to kind of like get any missing piece that you would want. But its effect is like so bad because it has to destroy a monster to search a Neo spell or trap, and that is just so slow. So when Supreme Darkness comes out, you just replace this with a Neos Lord. And then we've got Grand Neos as well. You'll notice in this deck that we're not playing any Neospacians or re-engage Neospace and things like that. And the reason that I did that is because I wanted to just basically make as many hands live as possible without drawing into subpar cards, because what as cool as they may be, the Neospacians are just awful. And Engage Neospace like is a card that reads bonkers like when you look at it, but actually it's a super big Ash like target. It doesn't actually plus you in card advantage. If your Poly is banished, you can't activate it or whatever. If you draw on the Poly, you can't even activate it. So we play this to go into the Flame Wingman, go into off the Flame Wingman sometimes, because this is the only real like, other than Rainbow Neos obviously, this is the only non-destruction in-engine removal that heroes have. And also like, you know, Grand Neos is a cool card. And then Sunrise obviously. You'll notice that like nothing's really locked us into anything other than Neos Fusion obviously, so we can be a little bit more flexible with the extra deck. So we've got the 1 Zeus, the 1 Typhon and Baguska. So the reason that we're playing Zeus as well as the Baguska is because going second, like, and if they do like if you are under draw or shifter or something like that, you can make the Baguska in attack mode and it can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects, so you can just attack into something in defense mode and go straight into the Zeus. Typhon could just be anything. I think I just have bias towards it because I'm just really bad into playing it against branded, but I do think any hero list should be playing Baguska. Take notes, Tom. And then just for the links, so we just got Infernal Devicer and Wonder Driver. Infernal Devicer is actually the only card in the deck that locks you into heroes, which is important because obviously Rainbow Neos isn't a hero, so you can't really activate it under extra hero Infernal Devicer. But this card is like still so good at getting like just getting the Neos obviously, and Wonder Drive is really good for recycling. You know, I'm not going to suck eggs because like you guys probably know how hero works anyway, so yeah, these are pretty standard. I don't have a side deck to show right now because I do think that your side deck should just be built up to personal preference and for what your local meta is, but I do think you can side things like hand traps for going first, and then also just like very simple ball breakers as well. Like there's room to play Super Poly in here. You could also play just things like Sphere Mode, what have you. So yeah, I don't think there's too much to change going forward if you're watching this retrospectively, other than just adding the Neos Lord, obviously. But yeah, that's it for the profile. Like, comment, and subscribe.